From Nutrien Ag Solutions, I'm Senior Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard with your Canadian Prairie weather story for Monday, September 26th, 2022. We'll start off with temperatures anywhere from the upper single digits to the upper teens across the prairie. A really mixed bag across the prairie provinces with those temperatures here this morning. We're going to be trending mild through much of the week. A little shot of cooler air in the west, but by and large, another mild next 10 to 15 days compared to seasonal averages here for late September into early October. The reason being, big ridge of high pressure, which you'll see here when the glitch stops on this animation. You see the flow of the jet stream coming up over the top of the ridge here across western Canada. We'll have a storm try to come in here again mid to late week, but it doesn't really do all that much as far as kind of breaking down that ridge. The radar is totally clear here Monday morning. This is 6:21 a.m. Central Time. Nothing going on. No clouds, no precipitation. It's going to be a beautiful day across the prairie provinces. A beautiful start to the week as we look at the NAM model, taking it through midday Thursday. Not much in the way of clouds, no precipitation until we get to the very end here. This will be midday Thursday. We see that disturbance start to come in, scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms as we get into our Thursday and Friday. Total precipitation, again, we'll loop this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, dry across the prairie. It's here as we get into Thursday. You start to see those precipitation totals start to tack on across the west as we start to get that storm system emerging across the west, but it's going to be kind of forced south of the prairie. And that's why we don't see that much in the way of widespread precipitation across the region. This is the next 10 days from the European model. Some pockets of heavier precipitation possible across far western and southern Alberta, across the foothills, where we get some of that flow coming up against the Rockies there to enhance the precipitation. And then additionally, as the area of low pressure kind of drifts off to the south, we'll get some pockets of heavier rain across the northern high plains of the U.S., generally south of the 49th there, south of the U.S. and the Canada border. North of the border, we're talking about scattered precipitation here, locally heavy downpours, but a lot of folks that maybe see little to no precipitation from this as we go through the middle and late part of the week. So here's the jet stream pattern as we get started here this week. Very highly amplified trough across the Pacific, ridge across western Canada, and then another trough here across the Great Lakes across the eastern United States. So the active parts of North America here, across the eastern U.S., and then here across the Pacific, and then additionally we've got now Hurricane Ian that's going to be making its way in here across the southeastern United States. So across western Canada, across the middle of the U.S. here, we're just quiet. Aside from that mid to late storm system that comes in. Let me take all the drawings off and show you what happens over the next 10 days. We do sneak that storm system in, but it's really kind of, it takes the path of least resistance here and just kind of links up with the eastern U.S. trough here and really kind of sneaks south of the prairie. We can see that when we look at heights here at 500 millibars. Again, we're looking at vorticity advection here. And so again, where you see the deeper colors, that's where we have spin within the atmosphere. When we bring spin into areas that we don't have spin, we can create cloud cover precipitation. This is where we look for active weather. So let's bring it back here to the start of the week. You see the very amplified pattern, the trough, ridge, trough. We'll go ahead and take that off of there and then slowly come through the first part of the week. We do have a little disturbance now in the middle of the summer. This would kick off a couple storms, maybe some severe weather, but here, moisture-starved portion of late September on the heels of this big trough, we've just brought in a lot in the way of cooler and drier air. So again, this kind of first little subtle disturbance, not going to do much more than maybe generate a couple of clouds as it makes its way through on Wednesday. It's this disturbance right here that starts to come in as we get into midday Thursday, but again, with the big ridge kind of taking up real estate across western Canada, this storm system slowly just kind of sneaks off to the south, starts to make a turn off to the south across the northern plains. Again, we'll get some precipitation, scattered showers, maybe a few storms, maybe a pocket of locally heavy precipitation, but by and large, this is not going to be a soaking event. It's really just kind of sneak off before we build ridging back in across western Canada, heading through the back half of the weekend into early next week. We'll look at the moisture here. Again, you see the first wave sneaks through here on Tuesday and Wednesday. Not much to work with here. Maybe going to kick off a few clouds. Here's the bigger wave that comes in Thursday and Friday. You see it spinning right here as you get toward the end of the animation. What's really more notable here, you notice going off on the right side of your screen. Again, we just had that front come through with cooler and drier air. You can see that front making its way all the way down to the southeast U.S., to the Gulf of Mexico, and then here is Hurricane Ian spinning away across Florida. So all of the deep moisture way down here across the southeastern U.S., across the Gulf of Mexico, and then further north here, we're talking about cooler and drier air just a chance for those scattered showers, maybe a few storms mid to late week we should call it. Let's look at the precipitation forecast then from the European model. Again, Western Canada, the Canadian Prairie right here. A lot of cooler and drier air here to start the week. We'll get that storm system here in Thursday and Friday. Again, heaviest rainfall probably across western and southern Alberta right here as we get some flow up against the mountains. This would be Thursday night into Friday morning. Scattered showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms as this thing continues to slowly move off to the south of the Prairie through the weekend. So it's really a late Thursday, Friday into Saturday, probably tapering off on Sunday kind of event. And then by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday of next week, the first few days of October, we're talking about high pressure, quiet conditions across the Prairie again. Over the next 5 days, probability of picking up more than half an inch of rainfall, again, highest here across southern and western Alberta. As you make your way off to the east from there, those probabilities really drop off. Again, you're going to see the chance for showers, maybe a thunderstorm Thursday and Friday, maybe into Saturday. The chance of you getting a soaking rainfall quite low, though, across much of the region, unless you get into southern and western Alberta. Your temperatures, again, focusing on Western Canada, going to be leaning warm as we head through the next 10 to 15 days, all the way into October 11th. This animation takes us. So shots of cool air, they certainly are within there. We just had one. We'll see another one, especially in the east as we get toward midweek. By and large, temperatures leaning a bit warmer than seasonal averages for late September and early October. Your next 15 days of precipitation from the European ensemble, next 10 days of temperatures compared to average. Again, warmer compared to average, and then likely drier compared to average in most areas except for southern and western Alberta, where we could tack on some precipitation a little heavier, a little more widespread as we get into Thursday and Friday, maybe Saturday of this week. But again, isolated to scattered, hit or miss as you expand east from there. Calgary, your next 10 days, again, warming up as we get through midweek. We'll get that kind of Thursday, Friday, Saturday storm system makes its way through. Brings in a shot of cooler air, but still high temperatures in the upper teens, close to 20 degrees. Same thing here in Edmonton, Saskatoon. You're a little bit later with that shot of cooler air. 27 for the high on Thursday, 20 for the high on Friday. So again, a big shot of cooler air, but this is still, near or a little more mild, or near or a little on the mild side is what I meant to say there, of average here for this time of year. Winnipeg, a little bit delayed there as well. Warming up through the end of the week, 21 for your high on Friday. We get a shot of slightly cooler air for the weekend, but again, trending dry across much of the region. Warmer, a little drier than average as we head into the beginning of October. So if you're still wrapping up, harvest conditions in a lot of areas remaining favorable, although again, southern, western Alberta maybe a little bit on the wet side as we get toward the end of the week.